Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Tuesday tip, where in this video we're going to be talking about a few different ways that you can level up your video editing skills. Good video editing is the art of massaging distractions out of a video in the editing process and putting things together in a cohesive way that anyone who watches the video can understand regardless of the context. And when it comes to video editing, anything that distracts the viewer away from what is actually going on and what they're supposed to be paying attention to needs to be edited out, and it can make the video less enjoyable to watch and completely distract people from what they're actually supposed to be focusing on. So in this video, I'm going to be covering a few different ways to increase your video editing skills, and while not everyone who watches your videos is going to notice these things, that's kind of the point, because good video editing is something that a viewer is not supposed to notice, and there's really no reason not to increase your video editing skills. So let's get into the video. As you can see, I've got Premiere Pro open on my desktop here, and we're going to be editing in Premiere, and that's where we're going to show all of these things. And the first thing that I want to talk about are J and L cuts. And for that, we're going to move forward in this Lip Lord's Best of September video from last month, and we're going to move all the way up here to this clip of Ryan Scher doing a trick at the Battle of Hastings. As you can see here, we've got the video itself. We've got a couple layers because it's square and I made the background bigger. We're going to ignore all of the video aspects and move down to the audio. We're going to mute the soundtrack with the song, and we're going to take a look at the audio from the clip right here. And as you can see here, the audio portion of this video clip extends out before and after the video portion begins and ends, and that is a J and L cut. The J cut is the first one, where it looks like a J if you look at the video source and audio source, and the L cut is the end, where it looks like an L when you look at the video and audio source. And what this does is introduces the audio of your clip before it actually happens and extends the audio of your clip after it ends. And this can help in videos because there's certain things that could get cut off if you cut abruptly with the video, and I will show you that right now. We're going to get rid of these fades, and we're going to play this clip without the J and L cuts.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'll play this end part again. You can hear that the yelling, because he landed his trick, abruptly ended with the video, and it's kind of distracting. It's not something everyone would notice, but if we extend it out here a little bit and then we play it again, you can see that that makes it so much easier to watch and extends into this next clip, and it's just more enjoyable and less distracting because no one's going to watch this the way it is and be taken out of the video by a scream that abruptly ends. We can take it to the next level and add a fade out, and I'm going to extend it a little bit, and if we play it again, we'll see what it does. Fades perfectly into this next clip. We get the scream, we're not taken out of it. It almost adds to the next trick because there's cheering going on before he even lands it. So now let's move back to the beginning of the clip, which I will play again for you guys real quick. As you could hear, that was a little bit abrupt, so what we can do about that is add a J cut by extending the audio into the clip before it. Now let's play this one. I would argue that that was actually a little bit more abrupt, so what I think we can do to edit this even better and make it that much more refined is add a fade to the beginning of this one as well, and then push this one back up to the point where the person before him is just landing his trick. So as you can see here, I'm selecting only the beginning of the audio portion of the clip, and to do that, I'm pushing the Option and Alt key and then selecting over top of the end of the clip. We can do this with video, pictures, any elements within Premiere we can do this with the option in Alt and then clicking. So let's play this one back, and I think you'll see that it's just that much better.
Oh yeah.
And that's just one example of the J and L cut within video editing that can take your videos just to the next level without actually having to really do that much or put that much effort into it. So the next thing that I want to talk about is editing to the beat of the music. And for this one, it's really simple. You're just trying to line up the different aspects of your video and the beats within your video to the beats within the song. And I have a perfect example of this right here to show you. So what we're going to be watching is how all of the elements of his trick line up with beats of the song. And if you get lucky, like within this clip, every single thing he's doing and every beat of the trick lines up with a beat of the song. And when you do that, it just makes things mesh that much better between the music and the visuals. And it just takes things to another level that you really have no reason not to when it comes to video editing. So it's really a quick tip. You're just trying to line things up with the beats in your song or whatever audio track you have with your video, and aligning these things, because a video isn't just video, it's the audio with it, the titles, anything that you have in there. You want it to be one cohesive piece, and you want people to be able to watch it without picking things apart, and you want people to feel like it's all one thing rather than seeing and hearing different things going together. So for the next tip, we're going to be scrolling to the end of our timeline here, and we're going to be talking about color correction. Color correction is built into almost every single video editor ever, and it's something that can really take your videos to another level if you're using more than one camera, and it's really necessary to make things not distracting to viewers when you're using more than one camera. So for example here, we have a clip shot with a handheld camera and an iPhone angle here, and if we play them, you'll see that you really can't see that much of a difference in the color, and that is because I color matched these videos together using color correction. So if I click on the first one and I turn off the Lumetri color in Premiere Pro, you'll see that it gets darker, a little bit more yellow, and if we click back and forth, you can see that there's a pretty big difference. I'll play it. You can just see a huge difference between the two clips, that if I turn the color correction back on and play it, we just don't get it. And this is something that you really should be doing if you're using more than one camera and they look different enough that it can be distracting. And it's something that not enough people know about or do. So hopefully with this video and these tips, this can help you out. The next tip that I want to talk about after this one involves these same clips, and it's when you're using more than one angle in a video, don't cut between them in the middle of the trick unless it adds to the trick and adds to the video. In a BMX video like the examples that we're using today, or another type of action sports video, or honestly any type of video where you're cutting between two different angles on the same action, you want to avoid doing so in the middle of the action unless it accentuates the action itself. For example, in a BMX video, let's say that they're doing a turn down over a dirt jump. You're not going to want to cut from the middle of the turn down between two angles, because it's going to take the viewer a second to adjust and realize that it's the exact same thing. And this is especially true if you're doing some type of combination. So let's say that I was doing a trick within my 360 here before I landed on the top of the spine. If I cut between these two angles mid-trick, it would take the viewer out of it and not give them a full picture of what is actually going on. and they might completely miss what is going on, and that's not what we want within a BMX video or any other video. We want to get the action and the purpose of the video across to the viewer. So I'm going to play these two angles back to back, and then I'm going to play the next example over here that shows cutting between the two of them mid-trick, and we'll see how that affects things. Okay, so I'm going to do that one more time. So obviously with both full angles of the entire trick, we're getting the entire picture from both angles and seeing it both ways. Here, we're going to get a different picture. And while someone who actually rides BMX regularly might be able to understand what's going on, it's still somewhat muddy and hard to see. Obviously, it's a continuation of the action, but it's just kind of hard to tell what's going on, and we can adjust this point a little bit, and it might make it a little bit better, but it's still tough to see. So we'll make the cut a little bit sooner and see how that affects things. I'd say that made it a lot worse. Now let's make it later on. That as well made it a lot worse. I think the only way that cutting between these two angles mid-trick would work is if we did it right about here, right just before I land. So it does work here, but like I said before, if I was doing a trick in the middle of this part and we cut out of it, we're not going to see that trick, and that's not what we want. So my advice to you is don't cut mid-trick unless it accentuates the trick. So no combination tricks on the trails or anything like that. And if you are going to do this, put the time necessary into it to do it right and make it look good. And the last thing that I want to talk about in this video about editing is your thumbnail. This is the fifth tip from this video. The thumbnail is arguably the most important piece of the puzzle when it comes to people actually watching your video, because most of the time this is how people are introduced to the video. So you want to put as much time as necessary into your thumbnail so that you can entice people into clicking it and watching your video. And when it comes to thumbnails, we always want to keep in mind that when someone sees this, it's going to be about this big on the screen, maybe a tiny bit bigger, not quite that big, but we want to choose a thumbnail that when it's tiny like that, people can still see and still be enticed to click on. So just keep these things in mind whenever you're editing videos. I know that a thumbnail isn't part of the video editing process, but it is always something that you want to think about throughout the entire process of your video. And most of the time, I take my thumbnails from screenshots from the video, which I do in the video editor itself. So I thought I should include it in this video of the 5 tips that I have for you on improving your video editing and taking your videos to the next level. So that's going to wrap this one up. I hope that you enjoyed the video and learned something useful. If you did, let me know in the comments down below. If you guys want me to do more videos on video editing, let me know that in the comments below as well. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button down below as well. Everything is down below. I come out with this tips and tricks video every Tuesday. I also do a BMX news video on Fridays and other types of riding videos and streams throughout the week. I want to thank you guys for being here and watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for a very awesome video. And if you're watching this in the go to the Halloween 2018 video on my channel. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.